How bad is the pacifist trait? First, I have to tell you what pacifist does, because it currently says less effective with weapons. If you do some research, you'll find out it is 25% reduced experience gain with weapons. My recommendation is to use the more descriptions for traits mod because it changes the tooltips to something much more accurate than the current tooltips give. By the way, here's Fast Learner's tooltip with the mod. It'll become relevant later. A reduction to experience gain with weapons doesn't seem like that big of a deal for the amount of trait points it gives, and I used to agree. It took a combination of me playing Lumberjack due to the recent buff to Axeman and discovering what the word weapons entails to change my opinion. This is where Fast Learner comes in. It's a positive trait that grants 30% increased experience gain for all skills aside from fitness and strength. At the cost of 6 trait points, you can combo it with Pacifist for a total of only 2 trait points spent, while granting 30% increased experience gain in most skills, and with some basic math, a 5% increased experience gain with weapon skills. Except it doesn't. When you research the real numbers, whether through a mod like me or by manually checking experience gained in the skill menu, you'll see that you do in fact gain less than 100% weapon skill experience with that combo. New knowledge, this is not. Other people have proved it before, but I feel the need to cover it in the current patch, which is 41.6a. I'll do this by ground pounding zombies. If you didn't know, when you one-shot a knockdown zombie, you gain the same amount of base experience every time. Before I carry on, I'll have to explain another annoying fact about Project Zomboid. When you start with skill points in a skill, it grants you an experience multiplier. You can happily see this in the trait menu as well as the debug menu. With 1 trait point, it shows 75% increased experience gain, and with 3, it shows 125%. This is wrong, or at least very misleading. Starting with 1 skill point in a trait grants 4 times the experience. If you were to gain 1 experience point, you gain 4 experience points instead. To dumb this down a bit, imagine it starting with 25% experience gain out of 100%, or 0.25 in proper numbers. When you add 75% experience gain, 0.75, what you get is 100% experience gain, or 1.0. It's weird, but I understand it from the coding perspective. The UI element for this needs to be improved. Back to bashing in zombie skulls. I did this with a Lumberjack using the Brawler trait. Why that combo? Because it was a trait combo I used when I had my epiphany, and my ape brain says bigger numbers are better. With the help of the XP drops mod, you can see exactly how much axe experience I am receiving. Yes, the guy who plays OSRS music in the background of his videos is showing off an OSRS based mod. It's a really good mod that has highlighted several things to me, one of which sparked this video in the first place. Without Fast Learner or Pacifist, I gain 4.98 experience from a kill. With Fast Learner, that number is 6.47. Add in Pacifist, and it comes out to 4.86, which is very clearly less than 4.98. Why does negative 25% and positive 30% end up with a negative number? The order of operations in math is important. 25% of 100 is 25. 25% of 130 is 32.5. The reduction from pacifist is subtracted at the very end of the equation, making it worse than you would assume at a glance. I would still agree that pacifist is a value trait to take until I realize one last thing. Maintenance is a weapon skill. You don't get to hit zombies with it, but it is within the combat part of the skill menu. So here I am, pushing a window to gain maintenance experience, and when I take the pacifist trait, it reduces the amount of experience gained. This is highly relevant to my Lumberjack build. Although stone axes are a great infinite source of weapons, fire axes are better. In a world with a limited amount of fire axes, gaining maintenance experience slower and thus breaking more axes than necessary is a cardinal sin. Now, I think it's important to point out I don't believe Pacifist is some trash tier trait. It still ranks very high up on my list of negative traits to take, but I am questioning whether Pacifist was the cause behind any of my struggles to keep enough good weapons around for horde slapping. I can no longer say that Pacifist has no effect on gameplay, because it does make you less effective with weapons in a roundabout way. Pacifist has a cost, and that cost is your character's potential. Would an extra weapon skill level have saved you? What if your weapon didn't break at that moment? You'll never know, but it will fester in the back of your mind.